Good day, folks. Welcome to 2 Cents with Jay Richardson. I'm Jay Richardson, and this is my podcast called 2 Cents, which we will be bringing episode after episode after episode, giving you all the latest in sports, updates, content, and just how I'm feeling. You're going to get my views and opinions unfiltered, and I can't wait. So, as we start today's episode off, I want to start off by just kind of giving a little shout out to all the listeners, everyone who tuned in, who listened to the first episode or first two episodes and really digested it and gave some feedback. I appreciate the feedback, and some of the feedback has been, hey Jay, can we get a little bit more of your opinion? We really want to hear you, man. We really want to know what you think. We want less Sports Center, more First Take. I get what you're trying to say. You want me to get my Stephen A. Smith on. Listen, I can do that. I come from the television industry, I guess, local TV here in Columbus, Ohio, working for WSYX here at Channel 6 and Fox 28. And it's always, when you're on camera, and especially in television, it lends itself to wanting to, come off a certain way, and you don't always want to go full tilt, you don't want to go, no one wants to fool me unfiltered. That's terrifying. I promise you, it'll scare you. So I try to water it down a little bit, but you know what? All right, I heard you. I listen, and I respond. Enough of that. So today's show is big, man. It was a huge day, huge week in sports. Obviously, a lot happened this last calendar week, and we got to dig right into it. Let's start things off, I think where we should start things off, by congratulating the Toronto Raptors and the entire country of Canada. Amazing. The only NBA team outside of the continental U.S., and first title for them. Huge moment for Toronto. Huge moment for that organization, franchise, and honestly, the entire country. It's got to be an amazing feeling, I guess, to have an entire country behind you as an athlete. I couldn't even imagine what Kawhi Leonard's feeling, what Danny Green's feeling after coming from San Antonio, winning championships there, getting that feel in that small market, and then going somewhere like Toronto where you have an entire country behind you. Unbelievable. But let's dig right into my real thoughts. Everyone's going to say that championship was a bit watered down. They're going to want to put an asterisk by it. Why? Well, the obvious. KD and Clay were down. In the critical moments, Clay was not there. Clay was absolutely lighting it up before his injury. He goes down. KD never really had a chance to make an impact in the series. We all know what happened last week, him coming back too early, tearing that Achilles. I thought he should not have been playing. A lot of athletes thought he should not have been playing. One thing you got to understand about athletes is we are competitive. We have a desire to show people and prove people wrong. And also, you never want to let your brothers down. So when you have a chance to be out there, you want to be out there. However, we also understand that you get one body, guys. You get one body. You use it in the wrong way at the wrong time, and something goes horribly wrong, and you never know what could come of it. You never know if you're going to be the same again, and that's always in the back of every athlete's mind, and that's just how it is. There's nothing, that's the nature of the business, right? KD goes out there, risks it all for his family, for his brothers out there, and he paid the ultimate price, and that cost him. But that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the idea. Right? The idea that the Toronto Raptors championship is in any way lessened by the absence of those two superstars. And I would combat that idea with this. Little time back, right? Little ways back, the Cavaliers lost that first championship in LeBron's inaugural season there to the Warriors. People seem to really forget what happened that series, right? Everyone, knows LeBron played like the all-world monster that he is. Well, of course. And everyone knows that ultimately the Golden State Warriors got their first title, right? But people forget, 2 All-Stars were missing in that series too, right? Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, both hurt, right? No one puts an asterisk by the Warriors championship, that first one. No one says anything, right? No, they just go, oh man, Golden State's amazing. They're the best team ever. They're amazing. Yeah. Let's not forget the real, right? LeBron had to carry that team on his back with Matthew Dellavedova. Where is he now? I don't even know. Last checked, he was on the bench with Milwaukee, and who knows after that? I don't know. Point is, this dude was the second best player on that team when the Golden State Warriors won a championship. I don't hear anyone talking about that championship being watered down. Well, if that's the case, then neither is Toronto. So let's just call it how we see it. I'm not saying that because I'm biased, because I'm from Ohio, because I got Cleveland roots, and I definitely root for LeBron. One of his high school teammates was a teammate of mine at Ohio State when I was playing football there. Fellow D lineman, great guy named Sheon Cotton, and he's one of those guys that introduced me actually to LeBron, and I was able to find out just what an amazing person he is. So yeah, it's gonna be kind of hard not to root for LeBron, but I'm not biased. I call it how I see it. Anybody that knows me knows Jay Rich plays it straight up. I'm gonna tell you how I feel. If I don't think something's right, I'm gonna say it's not right. If I think it's right, I'm gonna say it's right. So I don't think it's right for us to try to put an asterisk by the Toronto Raptors championship simply because KD and Klay were not there. Because if that's the case, then you got to go back and look at every single champion that's won in the years and think about who the losers of that championship were missing on that team. And we don't want to play that game. Now we're going to get into this nitpicky. Hey, look, champs are champs. That's what it is. Raptors are the champions. And I'll be honest, a part of me was kind of rooting for Golden State only because I thought if Golden State won without KD, it would set the narrative that, you see, we never needed you, KD, and then it would force KD to feel like he's got to leave Golden State and go somewhere else. Now, KD's in a position where he can say, you see, I wasn't there, and look what happened. Y'all lost, so let me get healthy, and I'm going to come back here, and we're going to do it. And he's got this chip on his shoulder, big time, I'm sure, not just about losing the title, but also about the way it happened, about coming back early, about getting hurt. The question is this chip on his shoulder, is he upset with the organization, right? Is he upset with the GM? Is he upset with the Warriors for pushing him back too quickly? Or is he upset with the rest of the basketball world, forever doubting that they didn't need him? I don't know, and I guess we'll find out when free agency opens up, because that's going to be the big talk ever since the injury, and ever since you've seen all these free agents become available, and now all of a sudden it's about to be a wild summer in the NBA, which will bring us to our biggest topic of the week. I'm not even going to get into it yet, because first I want to talk about Kawhi in free agency. Really briefly, Kawhi Leonard, if you're listening, if you can hear, dude, I don't know why you would leave Toronto. And I'm with Shaq and I'm with all these other guys who have said this. You just won a championship with an entire country behind you. There is no way possible that I could walk away from that. Do you realize people have said to Kawhi, the mayor of Toronto, everyone has said, you will eat free in Toronto for the rest of your life, the rest of your existence. I don't know about you guys. I spend a lot of money on food throughout the year, a lot of money on food. I check my account and I'm trying to figure out what happened to my money. 90% of it goes to food, whether it be eating out, whether it be Uber Eats, whether it be the grocery store, which is rare. It's probably going to be, some sort of food delivery service, because that's just where I am in my life right now. Okay, don't judge me. Point is, I get it. It's big. That's a huge statement. You told me right now that the Columbus Destroyers Arena League team would sign me and I could eat free in Columbus the rest of my life. I'm coming out of retirement, half limping and all, to play defensive end for the Destroyers for a free meal. It's just how it goes. I'm sorry, that's how I'm wired. I need food. Kawhi, why would you leave, man? They're going to take care of you there. And honestly, when you look at the basketball landscape, you got a great thing going. You got a young Siakam who's starting to blossom. You got a bunch of different role players on that team that know their role, that are solidified, that really want to be there. You got, Serge Ibaka and Marc Gasol rotating in there at that 5 spot. Both of those guys are long. Both of those guys have two opposite skill sets which complement each other. It's a really cool team to be on and in a really fantastic location. And once again, whole country behind you, free food. Don't leave, Kawhi. I'm just being honest with you, don't do it. And you could dominate the East. You are the king of the North. Stay on your throne. Now, the Warriors have an interesting decision to make when it comes to free agency. They've already come out and said they are definitely going to look to re-sign KD and Klay and give them both as much money as they possibly can. Can't argue with that. Why would you? Next year, for a fact they are out of it. Steph cannot carry a basketball team. We learned that in the NBA Finals, which means he definitely ain't going to be able to carry this team for 72, 82, however many games they play. They play a lot of games in the NBA. I'm not here to count them all. I just know I don't see Steph carrying a team for an entire season. He will break down at some point. He can't take those games off like he did last year and have those rest nights, because they are going to be depending heavily on that guy, and I just don't know if that's possible. He's just not big enough and not two-way player enough to do that, but he is the best shooter of all time, and he is money from beyond the arc. We know that, so it's going to be hard to bet against them winning a lot of games. I just don't see them making an impact in the playoffs next year without KD and Klay. Which brings me to the next big, big news. Almost bigger than the championship itself is the biggest trade of the year and really of the NBA in a long time. Anthony Davis goes to the Los Angeles Lakers. It is official. The trade has been executed. They are now, the rest is all just details and paperwork. It's going to happen. And when you look at this trade on its face right away, all you think is, oh my goodness, AD and LeBron paired together, give them 2 rings now at least. I would say pump your brakes on that. It takes a little bit of time, right? And look at the entire trade. Yes, AD, top 5 player in the NBA, a double-double guy, a walking, 28 and 14 most nights. I mean, he's just a freak of nature. He's young, right? Still in his physical prime. Hell, some would say just entering that prime. And he's 6'10", some say 6'11". He's rangy. He can shoot. He can pass. He can handle the ball a little bit. He rebounds. More importantly, he defends. And we know LeBron is going to manage his minutes, especially on defense throughout the regular season and the playoffs. You're going to see a different LeBron, and you're going to see AD really become who they truly are, which is just the monsters of the West now. And it's going to change a lot of things. But they gave up a lot. Lonzo Ball, promising young point guard, 2nd overall pick in the draft. Fantastic perimeter defender, Lonzo Ball. People don't want to give or discuss that too much because they get so hung up on his lack of perimeter shooting that you forget this guy handles the ball well. This guy is a fantastic passer. This guy's a good team glue guy. I think Lonzo doesn't cause you any problems. He's not like D'Lo where he's taking pictures of guys when they're doing less than savory things with their girlfriend with the whole Iggy situation, Nick Young. He's not doing none of that. He's just there to play ball and cool out. The biggest drama you're going to get from Lonzo Ball is going to be his daddy. And I think they included his dad in that trade, so he gone too. Sorry, LeVar, you got to go. Now, you also lose Ingram, who, man, Ingram was looking like at one point in his career, his young career, like Durant 2.0, just for like a couple, weak stretches here and there. But we don't know if he's going to be healthy. He hasn't even been cleared to play. Both of those 2 guys ended the year on the, on the bench, right? In street clothes. After that, you got Josh Hart. I think he's a good solid rotational piece. I think he shoots the ball well. He passes the ball well. He does everything well. He's not a great player, but he's a very solid player coming off the bench, and he can go out there and he can get you buckets too. You got first-round picks up the wazoo. I don't even know. You got like 3 or 4 first-round picks, including the 4th pick in this year's draft. Who knows who that pick will be for the New Orleans Pelicans. But you got to look at the Pelicans and go, man, you're going to be able to put some really talented guys around Zion as a youngster. However, that's going to be a very, very young team. I don't want to get into who won the trade, who lost the trade. Time will show who won and lost the trade. It was a fantastic trade, and you got to give your hats off to both sides for getting it done, and particularly David Griffin, who I'll mention later. Next up, you got to look at, was it all worth it? I'm going to say it again. We don't know. Time is going to tell for the Lakers, but they have got to be the prohibitive favorites now heading into next year to at least come out of the West, right? If Kawhi stays in Toronto, I don't know that the Lakers are the favorites to win the championship, but if Kawhi leaves, everything opens up and free agency is officially going to be crazy. And I think you got the Clippers trying to get Kawhi. I know the Lakers are still want to make another big move, another splash. Will they go after Kawhi? Will Kawhi even want to be a part of a team that already has 2, 5-star players on it? I don't know if Kawhi would do that. I doubt he would. I know he's from, the West Coast. I know he's from Cali. He's looking at the Clippers because the Clippers have a great core, a great nucleus of guys. People don't talk about Montrezl Harrell and the kind of a beast he is in the paint, and you got some great perimeter defenders, and you got a little bit of shooting, and if you add Kawhi, well, now you got the man. But I don't want to see Kawhi leave Toronto. We've already discussed that. A lot going on, and it's so crazy when you're talking about the West and you're talking about all the changes in free agency. No one is talking about the Houston Rockets as a legitimate contender next year now that KD and Klay are out of the mix, which effectively eliminates the Warriors. Why are they not talking about that? Because Houston, we have a problem. Yeah, everyone says that, and it seems like it's always true. Houston, truly has some issues, and it all starts with its two superstars, CP3 and James Harden. And I think it goes deeper. I think it really starts with the playing style. I think it starts with D'Antoni and that style that will never win D'Antonio a championship, which is we're only taking threes and we're only taking layups, and I want ISO ball, and I want the best ISO player, some argue, in the history of basketball, and James Harden to absolutely dominate the games offensively. And that doesn't work for everybody. And that certainly doesn't work for CP3. An aging CP3, I'll admit. You know, when you really look at CP3 and you look at his game over the last couple seasons, I know his numbers are down. I know he's coming off injury last year. This year he's healthy. And in a situation where they had everything right there in front of them, you know, you had guys banged up, you had KD out, and all Houston had to do was take control of that game 4 and ultimately go on and take control of that series. And they could not do it. All you got was dribble, step back, 3, try to draw a foul by James Harden, did not get the call because for some reason, James Harden still hasn't learned that you're not going to get those calls in the playoffs, my man. You've never gotten those calls in the playoffs, and you never will, and you'll never be a champion until you realize that and start playing to hit the shot and not playing to get the foul call. All that being said, as that's happening, you got Chris Paul watching this and looking at D'Antoni and going, what are we doing? Why is this guy dominating the ball and jacking up these shots, looking for foul calls when we got 4 other guys on the court who are all able-bodied, who are trying to rotate? But here's the problem. No one moves, no one cuts, no one slashes because they get so used to watching him dribble the ball. That upsets Chris Paul. At one point, you know, it's being reported that he was looking over at D'Antoni trying, you know, to basically tell him, hey, you keep James on the bench so that I can try to get this second unit going, so I can try to get guys in the flow of the game. Meanwhile, James is looking at Chris Paul going, dude, you can't even beat your man one-on-one. This is a quote now they're saying. I don't want to hear it. You just watch me do my thing. If that's what we have right now, those Rockets won't have a chance. They just won't. You know, losing Ariza was one of the biggest mistakes they ever made. You got a two-way guy who can hit big shots, but more importantly, he defends and he keeps the defensive integrity together. And he was somebody that Clint Capella really leaned on a lot defensively. If you notice, Clint Capella did not look like himself for the Rockets this year, and that made a huge impact. I don't know what's going on with the Rockets, but they ever want to have a chance, the chance is now. Next year could be their year, but I don't think they'll ever win. I don't think with D'Antoni they'll ever win. I don't think with that system of playing ISO ball they'll ever win. It's just how it is. And CP3, no one wants to trade for you because that contract is ridiculous. Nobody wants to pick that up for an aging superstar. Much as I love CP3, always have, my man, unless you have an amazing offseason and get a hold of some HGH or something and come back jumping higher and feeling better and wanting to really take over and be more aggressive offensively, I just don't see it happening. I think it's over for Houston, and I think that's just the case. The Lakers really are going to be the front runner. Why are they the front runner for the title? Like we mentioned earlier, they just bagged AD. Now it's what are you going to put around AD and LeBron? Everyone's going to say the same thing, and I think it's just the truth. They need shooting. Problem is you got like $30 million or less to spend on shooting, so you can't spend a lot. You're going to have to find veteran players that are willing to come in at the minimum or take less because they want to be a part of something special. That can be done. There's a handful of guys in this league that you're going to have to try to lure into LA. I know everyone's saying Kemba Walker. Kemba was willing to give Charlotte a hometown discount. He ain't giving LA a hometown discount. That guy's been getting discounted for years. He wants to get his money, and rightfully so, he should. Kyrie and LeBron and AD. There's a certain ring to that, probably 2 rings. I love it, but that would require LeBron and Kyrie to both humble themselves, pick up the phone, and get it figured out. And I just don't know if either one of those guys will do that. Does LeBron have to? Of course not. Kyrie, I'm kind of leaning towards you, buddy. You got to kind of do that because it's already been proven. You are not the A1 player. You're more like a B or maybe an A2 player, meaning you can't be the best player on a championship team at 6'3.5", 6'4", and with that skill set. I know it's insane, his handles and all that, but he's just not a leader. It's just been proven. In Boston, it couldn't be more glaringly true and obvious what he lacks as a leader and as a one-on-one defender, too. Let's not get into that right now, but I just don't see it happening. His best bet, if he ever wants to be a champion again, is right now, head out to LA, pack your bags, my man, and go do your Uncle Drew thing. Go do your Uncle Drew thing with the new monsters of the West Coast, you know, the new Twin Towers, so to speak, in AD and LBJ. That's the best bet, and that's all I'm saying about that. Now, can you get Danny Green You can lure Danny Green out of Toronto. Now you got yourself a shooter who he made a difference in those NBA Finals. You know, he caught fire. There were games he hit 6, 7 threes. That was huge. He is still a consistent shooter. He still defends well enough to stay on the floor, and he's a champion. He knows what it takes, like LeBron, and LeBron needs a couple veteran guys along with him that he can kind of lean on. I think last year's team was just so young, right? I mean, it was LeBron and a bunch of children, and I think there's a lot of personality differences there. And you know, as much as LeBron likes to, to still be stylish and stay hip and listen to all the newest music, he's an old dude like me. We're the same age. He's not trying to hang out with a bunch of 18, 19, and 20-year-olds all weekend long. And there's that dynamic of he's LeBron James, right? You know, all those guys in the locker room are just staring at him with their mouths wide open and kind of, in awe of him, and not being teammates and not, truly going, hey, look, let's all get on the same page and let's lock in and let's go for it. So with some veteran guys who LeBron, I think, will respect more, I think will also be the kind of guys that will not check LeBron, but have enough cachet to talk back to him, correct him if he needs, because I think, there has to be a balance in the locker room. There has to be a mutual respect and understanding in every team, and you don't want one guy dominating, the locker room and the floor and the basketball. So I think it'll be important the kind of people you put around LeBron. I really wish someone like a Ron Artest, right, was still young and healthy and could come out and play on this team, because I think he would be a good piece from a mental makeup, from a toughness, because you're going to need one or two tough guys. You're going to need two shooters to put around LeBron and AD, and then you still got Kyle Kuzma. He's your wild card. Kyle Kuzma for the Lakers is going to be the guy that, depending on his development this offseason, will absolutely be the difference in a championship or not, right? If Kuz decides I'm going to work my butt off, I'm going to become an elite perimeter defender, I'm going to become a scorer, I'm going to get that shot so right that when LeBron kicks it to me in the corner, I know it's going down before it touches my hands. If he becomes that guy, oh my God. Yeah, it doesn't matter who you put around those three guys. They are going to be in championship contention. Last but not least, smaller story that didn't make tons of waves, but it's very interesting. The FSU athletic department has officially gone private, meaning they have privatized their athletics in the sense of it is no longer a part of the university, it's no longer public. They are going to be privately funded by boosters, and this allows them a whole lot of operating and I don't know how to put it, secrecy, right? Now you don't have the university looking over your back. I don't know that they'll be audited the same way. I don't know that they'll be watched and scrutinized the same way. What am I trying to say? When you privatize something, it means you don't want eyes on it. It means, yeah, you got to find your own money, but it means how you spend that money is up to you. And that is kind of interesting. I don't know about you guys, but if I was a young athlete coming out right now and FSU called me, and let's say I was in, a compromised economic position like a lot of young athletes are these days, I'd be looking at FSU, because I know one thing. If no one's looking over their shoulder, they're going to be able to make a lot of moves behind the table that no one's going to be able to keep an eye on, and no one's keeping track of that money. It's going to get very interesting. I would watch FSU over the next couple of years. I know the NCAA, I know that probably alerted them. I just don't know. I don't know. I've never seen this before. I've never seen a school, and maybe it's happened before and I just haven't seen it, but a school privatizing the athletic department is very, very interesting move, and I think it's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on just to see what the ripples are and kind of the fallout from that, because that's very unique. Before I get out of here, I want to give a quick little props to specific GM, and I know we discussed it a little bit earlier, but David Griffin, you came from Cleveland, you get down there in New Orleans, and you execute this AD deal. You know what I like about this? He listened to the players, right? He listened to the athletes, because at the end of the day, you can't make an athlete do what he doesn't want to do. GM last year didn't listen, right? AD goes, no. I want out. I'm done. He even wore "That's All Folks" shirt at the end of the season. And Demps, I don't get Demps, right? You lose your job not because of losing games and not executing with the roster. You lost that job because you were so spiteful towards AD and the idea that you're not going to trade him until you feel like it. That when the Lakers offered you everything. Literally, they offered you everything, even Magic Johnson damn near, right? They put the entire franchise on a plate, and it was, you can have everything but LeBron James, and you turned it down just to spite AD. Well, congratulations, you lost your job, and you lost your Pelicans a chance at probably getting Kyle Kuzma along in that deal. I mean, they would have got Kuz too. I don't think Kuz was untouchable last year. So, flash forward now, you get Griffin, and he listens to AD, and he goes, you know what, I believe you, man. You really don't want to be here. Cool. I'm not even going to waste time. I'm going to do this before the draft. I'm going to let you get out of here, but not before we get, oh my goodness, 3 quality players, including Lonzo and Ingram, who could be, if health permits, fantastic all-star caliber players on a long enough timeline. And you get 3 first-round picks. I don't know, it could have been 4, I don't even know, but you get a lot of first-round picks. You get the 4th pick in the draft, so you will have a chance to pair Zion with his homie from Canada, RJ Barrett, who I think that's a great young nucleus. True, you're going to need to bring some vets in, but you got cap space for that. You can bring some vets in, and you get some leadership in there, and now you have the nucleus, a young nucleus of guys who are super talented and super driven and motivated, right? Because you can't tell me Lonzo, Josh Hart, and Ingram aren't going to be motivated by the idea that LA didn't want them, aren't going to be motivated by the idea that, you know, while they were down, meaning hurt, they got kind of kicked while down. Because whenever you get traded when you're hurt, as an athlete, terrible feeling, right? It's almost like getting kicked while you're down. So these guys are going to come back motivated, and I wouldn't be shocked if 3 years from now we're looking back and watching the New Orleans Pelicans in the playoffs and thinking, man, maybe they did win that trade. But that won't be before the Lakers win at least one title. That's all I got for you guys today. I know it's a lot. It's a lot to digest. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate all the feedback. I appreciate all the tweets and the texts. This is going to be awesome. You are witnessing this podcast and it's early evolution, and it's going to change. It's going to evolve. You're gonna hear more from me. You know, as the time goes on, I'll probably get a little bit more unfiltered. Anybody that knows me knows. I get a little unfiltered sometimes. But right now, we're going to keep it professional, and we're going to keep it moving. That has been 2 Cents with Jay Richardson. Till next time.